Greetings, students of the Force, and welcome back to the channel. Episode 6 of Obi-Wan Kenobi has just dropped, making it the finale of the 6-part miniseries. As usual, before we continue, this will include spoilers for the final episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi. In this finale, we get to see everything that we were hoping to see for this show, including Obi-Wan's full transition into the wise and powerful monk-like man that we know from A New Hope. And now, the name Ben will represent the wise Jedi Master rather than Obi-Wan Kenobi's weakened state. However, in this video, we wanted to touch on Lord Vader and why he appears so weak against Obi-Wan in the penultimate duel on the rocky planet. Why was Obi-Wan so weak against Obi-Wan Kenobi, and why in the past has Darth Vader specifically weakened when he duels Obi-Wan? Well, we actually have a canon answer that delves deep into the psyche of Lord Vader and Anakin Skywalker, and something that we wanted to address in depth today. Both combatants brought their A-game, with Obi-Wan displaying a surprising amount of offense despite his strengths in Form 3 Sarisu, a notably defensive dueling style. Vader, for a shocking amount of time, was put on the defense and was overwhelmed by Obi-Wan's sudden burst of light side energy. But why is this? Luckily, we have an answer for you, and we have an answer on why Vader is so weak when specifically dueling Obi-Wan, and what this means for Anakin and his relationship with the dark side itself. First off, right as the fight begins, Vader takes his first swing and exerts himself with a yell. Vader has already shown us one crucial fact about this fight in this moment. Vader is fighting here with his emotions. Typically for Darksiders, this is not an issue and is something that they actually want to embrace. However, Lord Vader is not like most Sith. Unlike many Sith warriors, Vader is far more powerful when he is cool and collected. Darth Bane described it as having a raging inner storm from which to draw power as you please, while keeping an icy cold visage. This is how Vader is as we know him, and how he has presented himself to other Order 66 survivors. But even as Lord Vader states himself in this finale, Obi-Wan is no other Jedi. Obi-Wan holds a certain place in Vader's heart, a place in his heart where he isn't Vader, but he is still Anakin. Kenobi reminds Anakin that he is still down there somewhere because he still feels the burning hatred for his old master. This is not Vader's hatred, this is Anakin's hatred. This same Mustafarian fire is what Anakin brought to this battle in this episode. Make no mistake, it is largely Anakin dueling Obi-Wan here, not Lord Vader. This normally wouldn't have made him weak to any other Jedi, but it made him weak to Kenobi. Obi-Wan was the one opponent that Vader needed all of his wits about him in order to overcome, and yet Anakin was still there, impatient, still emotional, still the learner. You see, it's Vader's hatred of Jedi, yet lack of personal connection to them that makes him such an absolutely terrifying opponent. His duel with Mustafar and defeat at the hands of Obi-Wan Kenobi shaped who Vader would ultimately become as a duelist and a fighter against the Jedi. With Darth Vader, you cannot reason with him, bargain with him. Your pleas for mercy fall on deaf, scorched ears. As a Jedi, when you look upon his black, lifeless mask, there is only the cold image of death staring back at you. However, it is this clear lack of composure which is what makes him vulnerable specifically to Obi-Wan Kenobi, a Jedi Master taught only to fight when his emotions were in check. Just as we saw in the flashback duel, Obi-Wan chastises Anakin for becoming too aggressive and letting his lust for victory blind him in this battle. The same thing will occur in the finale. Darth Vader, Anakin, still the learner. Anakin and Vader's over-emotional state is what made him lose on Mustafar the first time around. Anakin was more powerful, a better lightsaber duelist, a higher midichlorian count. Anakin had bested Dooku, a lightsaber duelist that Obi-Wan never had, and yet it was Obi-Wan's composure and his patience that led him to victory, and Anakin's over-reliance on his own emotional skill that led to his defeat. This fight actually lies in stark contrast to when we saw Darth Vader duel Reva in the previous episode. Against Reva, Lord Vader is composed and in complete control the entire time. However, against Obi-Wan, he cannot help but let loose. However, Vader against Obi-Wan is so blinded by rage for the Jedi, and more specifically his master in that moment, that for turning Padme against him in the end, making his loved one betray him, that he made emotional decisions and threw tactics to the wind in order to defeat Obi-Wan, and defeat him by sheer strength alone. Anakin's mistake then is that he underestimated not only Obi-Wan's power, but his strategic mind that he uses to compensate for his own inherent weaknesses. Just like on the Black Glass Beach, Vader is once again left weakened and wounded, struggling to breathe after being made a fool of by Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan, who exploited his overconfident state, his emotional state of mind. It made him weak then, and it has made him weak now. This Vader is a far cry from the cool and collected Vader that we see in A New Hope. This is what separates this Vader from the one that we see in A New Hope, and what truly makes him the master when they dueled each other on the Death Star. It has been said by Luke Skywalker that he believes the Jedi will always be superior duelists to the Sith for a simple reason: because of their composure in a duel. A Sith will go into a battle snarling and gnashing like a mad dog, throwing their power around in heaps in order to overwhelm their opponent at all costs. While yes, this tactic works in many scenarios, by and large, it's statistically more probable that a Jedi will triumph in single combat against a Sith Lord. Again, as Luke states, because of their composure. This is one of the many reasons the armies of Sith fell against the Jedi Order in the days of the Old Republic, and even older eras. Besides, of course, the infighting and backstabbing, Sith focus too much on combat and do not often compose themselves for a duel. Surrendering themselves to emotion in its completion caused Sith to throw much of their caution to the wind and leave themselves open. Luke Skywalker states that Jedi will always be the better combatants because they are calm and can fully remember their techniques and training. Darth Vader, when facing other Jedi, and even later in life, understood this principle and implemented it into his fighting style. Darth Vader, just like Dooku, was composed when fighting any other Jedi but Obi-Wan. He learned from Dooku and the ways in which Dooku fought, keeping his emotions hidden and goading the opponent into making a rash decision. A mistake, something Vader is known for. However, this Vader lets Anakin peer behind his lenses, lets Anakin's rage take over, and therefore he makes far more mistakes. This is one of the large reasons why Darth Vader is so afraid of Obi-Wan before their final confrontation on the Death Star. Obi-Wan is the only person who can rile this much emotion out of a usually calm and collected, cold Vader. Even Darth Sidious in this episode pointed out that Vader seemed especially agitated and was hyper-focused on Kenobi, this not stemming from Lord Vader, but a place from Anakin Skywalker. Darth Sidious even cited that this made Vader weak. Darth Vader paused, finally letting the Emperor's words sink in, and he quickly decided to dismiss Kenobi, realizing that it was Anakin that was after Obi-Wan, not Vader. It was Anakin who truly wanted Obi-Wan dead and gone, not the Dark Lord. And that is why Darth Vader is especially weak when dueling Obi-Wan Kenobi. That is why he apparently had such a hard time in this latest episode of Kenobi. And that is why he lost on Mustafar. But anyway, my friends and students of the Force, does this explanation clear up a few things for you from the latest Obi-Wan episode? And what did you think of this episode and the duel specifically? If you're interested in more Obi-Wan and Darth Vader content, force crush that subscribe button, as we'll be covering it in depth in the next few weeks. As always, my friends, may the Force be with you, and I hope that you have a great day.